Hello everybody, getting ready to do Chapter 2, Review and Summary, Part 1, Algebra 1 Math. And on your class worksheet today, students, you got 22 points, have that out ready to go. And then your notebook, there'll be 14 points of notes to take today into your notebook or your notebook guide. And then students, put your name, date, period here on your phone, your iPhone, your iPad, your PC, your Chromebook. Let's go into page 1, and we start off with a bell work today. Today's spell work, solving proportions, solve the proportion, check your solution. Same thing down here, students. Teachers, give your students about 5 minutes. See you in 5. Okay, welcome back everybody for today's solutions to today's bell work. Solving proportions, solve the proportion, check your solution. So for number 1, we have 16.5 plus 3t over 3 equals 0.9 minus t over a negative 5. So to solve this one up here, we're going to cross multiply here. Negative 5 times 16.5 plus 3t equals 3 times the quantity 0.9 minus t. And then when we multiply through by 5, on the left here, we get negative 82.5 minus 15t equals 2.7 minus 3t. And then we move our, negative 82, we move our 15t over to the right side, and we have negative 82.5 equals 2.7 plus 12t here. And then we subtract 2.7 from both sides, and we have negative 85.2 equals 12t. And then negative 7.1, therefore, divide through by 12 both sides. We get negative 7.1 equals t. So there is your solution for number 1. Plug that back in, so 16.5 minus 21, so that would be a negative on that side. And then a negative on this side as well. So they both look negative. Without doing the actual arithmetic, it looks good enough for me. Students, if you check, come to the board. The teachers ask students come to the board and do their checks. And then down here for number 2, 4 over b minus 3.9 equals 2 over b plus 1. Oh, here's the check. I'm sorry. So we do plug in, and sure enough, it comes out to 24 equals 24. Negative and then negative, then so see, and then we cross multiply again to check to come up with our check. So okay, there we go. And then down here, solve the proportion, check your solution. So down here, 4 over b minus 3.9, and we plug through, we cross multiply, we end up with that. And then we have 4b plus 4 equals 2b minus 7.8. And then let's see, what did we do here? We moved our 2b over here. We subtracted 2b from both sides, so we had 2b plus 4 equals negative 7.8. And then we subtract 4 from both sides. We have 2b equals negative 11.8. And then we divide through by 2, so b equals negative 5.9. And then here's your check. And then we end up with negative 19.6 equals negative 19.6. So when we plug in our negative 5.9 here, and 4 over negative 2 over blah blah blah, so that's what you get. Let's go into our first notebook entry here. Big ideas. So solving equations in one variable. You can solve equations in one variable by adding, subtracting, multiplying by, or dividing by the same number on each side. So let's get into a property here, addition property of equality. Add the same number to each side. If x minus a equals b, then x minus a plus a equals b plus a, or x equals b plus a. So that'd be the same thing. You still have an equation here. Still can use the equal signs between the two terms. And then subtraction property of equality. As long as we subtract the same from each side, we'll still have an equation. And then multiplication property of equality. If we multiply each side by the same non-zero number, it'll still remain an equation. So, and then division property. If we divide each side by the same non-zero number, we can still have an equation. So another notebook entry here, page 2, solving proportions. When solving a proportion, you can take the cross products, then use properties of equality. So here's our original proportion. If we use cross products now, 5 times x minus 3 equals 40 times 4. And then we just go through 5x minus 15 equals 160. And then we continue to solve for x. X equals 5x equals 175. By the addition property of equality, add 15 each side. And then x equals 35. By the division property of equality, divide each side by 5. By using those certain what are they, theories? No, they're actual rules. Rewriting equations in 2 or more variables. If you have an equation in 2 or more variables, you can solve for one variable in terms of the others using properties of equality. For example, the formula for the perimeter P of a rectangle can be solved for the length L. So perimeter equals 2L plus 2W, original formula. Here's your diagram, and then P, we move our 2W over. P minus 2W equals 2L. Subtraction property of equality. Subtract 2W from each side. And then divide through by 2. And we have P minus 2W over 2 will equal your length. By the division property of equality, divide each side. So that's an example there of using properties of equality. Find square roots and compare real numbers. Order the following numbers from least to greatest. Here's our list. And here they are plotted. Negative square root of 18 and negative 4 is right next to each other there, sort of. Although negative square root of 18 is a little bit less. And then 3.2 and then square root of 25. So from least to greatest, the numbers are negative square root of 18, negative 4, 3.2, and square root of 25. So that would be page 4, going to your notebook. You get 4 points for that. In our guided up here, evaluate this expression, the negative square root of 36. This is yours down here, students, in your independent. Let's do our guided. So the negative of the square root of 36 would be the negative of square root of 36, which is the negative 6. There's that. Let's go to our next page here. Notebook. More notebook, students. It sometimes helps to get a notebook guide. So solve one-step equations. Solve x over 5 equals 14. So here's the original. What do? What's the inverse of division? It'd be multiplication. So we inverse multiply by 5 on both sides. The 5 cancels, and 5 times 14 is 70. There you go, x equals 70. 70 over 5. Does that equal 14? It sure enough does. So anyway, solve this equation. Check your solution. That's our guided. Same thing down here for you students. Let's do our guided up. So we have negative, what is it? Negative 5z equals 75. Divide through by negative 5 on both sides. So we're going to divide through by negative 5 on both sides. We're going to end up with z, then 75 divided by negative 5 is negative 15. Then our check, we plug in, back in our negative 15 here. See, negative 15, they didn't put in negative here, it should be a negative here. So negative 5 times negative 15, does that equal 75? Yes, it does equal 75. So anyway, yeah, 75, it checked, so it is a solution. That's your classwork for today. Animated PowerPoint math video at AOL.com for questions or course materials. Thank you very much.